Okay, so you already know what time it is. 3 punch combo. We gotta continue to box of truth. It's the queen, it's Micah K. You can find me too at, Afternoon Sports LA as well. So it's a lot been going on. Okay, continue, as far as in the boxing world, a major hot topic right now, especially I feel like, something that's very serious that's going on. Let's talk about Terence Crawford and him getting stripped of his WBC title. How you feel about that?
Well, I feel like both Terence Crawford and the WBC took a stance. From what I'm reading and from what I'm gathering, um, the WBC, they have a fees that every boxer pay, sanctioning fee, which I agree with the fees. Every sanctioning body should have some type of something put in place to keep the organization going. However, Terence Crawford, he felt like, okay, that was ambiguous. He felt like he wanted to negotiate his fees with all the organizations, not just WBC, with everybody. So um, they said, no, we're not accepting that. And Terence Crawford said, okay, no, well, I'm not paying you. So I think both parties took a stance, and I think a lot of things out there that's being said that needs to be addressed.
Okay. So like let's get into some other things as far as let's talk about Mauricio Solomon or Solomon if I'm saying that enunciating that part. Let's just say Mauricio right now. How do you feel like as far as when he came out? Let's talk about that part because I feel like he could have, as far as addressing the situation, this is where I'm getting at. I feel like he could have did that in a different manner, in a more professional manner. I've never heard of, as far as I feel like it could have been done more privately. Like I said, maybe it was discussed. Like I don't know the ins and outs of the details of it, but the way he said it, I felt like he could have went about, talking to Crawford in a different manner to me, if that makes sense. Like, how do you feel about as far as your thoughts about that?
No, that makes a lot of sense. I think it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Like you said, we don't know what went on behind the scenes to where he felt like Crawford should apologize. I didn't get that either. So that prompt of Crawford to go live and say what he had to say, which apparently there's a lot more there. And again, there's a lot more that needs to be discussed around these organizations though. It's a lot more, I think, tied around the organizations and who get what, who pays for what, where the money is going, how things are structured. I think a lot of these boxing organizations have a lot to work to do. Let me just say that they have a lot of work to do.
Okay, so what is your thoughts about? Let's talk about like with Terence Crawford. Let's talk about his IG, his response to Mauricio. Let's talk about that. Like, how do you feel about that as far as that part?
I just thought he was fed up. He felt like, listen, enough is enough. It's one thing to say something, but it's another thing to take a stance. And
Mm.
he felt like, and it's just not just Crawford. You had other boxers saying this a long time ago, that the sanctioning fees was outrageous. You had Floyd talking about it. Other boxers talked about the sanctioning fees. Crawford just took a stand, and rightfully so. If that's the case, there was a lot of questions surrounding the sanctioning fees. Uh, it's a time for everything. So it's just a lot of stuff is about to be exposed. A whole lot of stuff.
Right. Yeah. So you made a great point too. Like other boxers, like Tank has always talked about that. Like he don't care about the belts. He don't want to pay that money. You know, for the sanctioning fees. He always talk about skip that, and also Spence spoke on it prior to that as well. So let's talk. Let's get into I would say like more as far as let's get into more of a breakdown. So do you feel like it should be multiple belts? Should it just be one belt? Like how do you like what's your thoughts on that as well? Like how the system is put in place because they always talk about with boxing too. Well, let me just not say I say boxing from what I have known and been covering it. It can be very corrupt. It's very political. That's what people talking about too. Like in Terence Crawford video as well, he talked about as far as how Benavidez had been the mandatory for so many years, for those couple of years for Canelo. But then you talking about, in connection with stripping me of my belt. So let's get into, that part too, as far as like boxing with the politics and certain stuff, like the structure. and with the belts.
Well, I feel like it's a politics. It's a politics in a lot of things, especially when you're talking about this type of money, that type of money.